Hey guys, Young here with AO Reliance, bringing you today a little cast iron segment. I've been cooking with cast iron for a couple months now, learning about seasoning and different recipes and stuff, but this isn't so much a video about recipe and what I'm cooking as much as it is a video on how to clean your cast iron with very little water out in the field. We're in my kitchen today. This is where I test everything out before I go out in the field and use it and learn stuff the hard way. But stay tuned, and I'll show the meal I'm making, and then the primary part of this segment is going to be on how to clean your cast iron using very little to no water. Stay tuned. Alright guys, so the skillet that I use is a Camp Chef, I believe, and it is a 10-inch, yeah, it's a Camp Chef 10-inch cast iron skillet. Like I said, I've only been doing this for, I don't know, 3 or 4 months, but that's the skillet I've been using. It's seasoned, all that. Like I said, there's no groundbreaking recipe here. This is just a basic breakfast skillet that I'm doing here. You're going to add bacon into it, brown the bacon, then some hash browns, potatoes, and then eggs over it, and kind of a burrito type of mix if you have tortillas with you. But let's get started, and I'll get the bacon put in. So I use half a package of bacon, whatever, Oscar Mayer, whatever you want to use. Just half a package of bacon, chop it up into bite-sized chunks, and then get the bacon cooked as crispy as you want it. If you throw the potatoes in there too quickly, the bacon won't cook all the way before the potatoes are done. So sure, if you like your bacon crisp, make sure they're crisp before you add the potatoes. I did add a little bit of lard to the bottom of this skillet to help with the initial cooking, so the bacon and stuff wouldn't stick to it. Still haven't quite figured out how to get a proper seasoning on this to where I don't have to add cooking oil or lard to it, but with this dish I find that it helps with the potatoes with a little bit of lard, and then the fat that burns off the bacon helps to cook the potatoes a little quicker. But hang tight, and I'll show you a little trick I do with the Alright guys, so in this recipe, even out in the field, I use these Orida potatoes, frozen, already diced up, and like I said, I try to make the stuff as simple as I can when I am out in the field. I'm not trying to be a gourmet cook. I'm just trying to prepare a halfway decent meal that isn't freeze-dried. So, but I find that you take the potatoes and you put them in a strainer, especially at home when you pull them right out of the freezer if they're not thawed. It works really well if you get your tap water hot, and then just kind of thaw them out with hot water before they go in the skillet, and that helps them to cook a little faster. So gotta get that bacon stirred up here so it doesn't fly to the bottom of the pan. But this is the trick I use on potatoes. And then out in the field, should be a little bit better because they'll be stored in your Yeti, so they're not going to be quite frozen. But you can do the same thing if you have like a little Sea to Summit bowl or a bowl or something that you can put warm water into it, and then let it dry out. Let them dry out before you put them, not dry out, but rinse out. Try to get as much of that moisture out of there as you can. You don't want that going into your grease. That's what I do with this, so it helps the potatoes cook quicker. They come out nice that way too. So that's the tip on the potatoes. Alright, now we got our bacon browned or crisp as we want it. It's time to add the potatoes. Now at this point, if you're really worried about being health conscious, this is the point that you could strain off some of the grease that's in here before you add the potatoes. But remember, this is for my overlanding rig, for my outdoor recreations, and I'm going to be out there hiking and glassing and scouting, fishing and all that stuff, and you know, you'll be crushing them calories, and especially if it's cold outside, this grease and this fat that's going to get soaked up by the potatoes, it's going to help you with metabolic heat, and it's also going to help you keep your energy levels up. So this isn't something you would do for ultralight backpacking, but this is something that I have in my truck for when I go, you know, camping or overlanding or whatever you want to call it. But so yeah, this would be the point. You can strain off the grease if you want. I like to leave it in there because it helps cook the potatoes quicker. Got the potatoes clean, thawed, and ready to go in. Get that mixed around a little bit. That mixed in with the bacon. Might come down a little bit on the heat. Out there on a campfire, you probably won't have that luxury unless you set up a stand, you know, to control your heat. But now that you've added your potatoes, I like to get mixed in with the bacon, kind of even them out, flatten it out a little bit to the bottom of the skillet, and let it sit like this for probably about 5 minutes, and then it'll be nice and browned on the bottom side. Flip it over, let it sit 5 minutes there, and I like adding seasoning to my and I like the Zatarain's blackened seasoning because it goes good with fish. It also goes good with red meat. It goes pretty good with potatoes as well. So a little seasoning. There you go. So 5 minutes like this, turn it over, 5 minutes like that, then we'll add the eggs. Alright guys, it's been 10 minutes, 5 minutes on each side with those potatoes. This is what we're looking like now. Yeah, it looks pretty good. So we're going to go ahead, I'm going to add 4 eggs to it, and then cook it up and ready to serve it. And I just break the yolks and kind of mix it all up. That's all I really do. It's a real simple cast iron meal to do out in the field on a fire. But it does, as you'll see when we get into the cleaning portion of it, you will see that it does make a pretty good mess of the pan. We can bring that heat down a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and finish cooking this off and serve me up some breakfast, and I'll come back at you with the cleaning portion of this video. Alright guys, so breakfast was pretty good, and now it's time to clean it up. This is the reason why I wanted to do the video. So that's you see in there, there's stuff on there. Most of it will scrape off pretty easy because of it being seasoned and everything, but you will need to tend to the more hardcore stuff. And the way I like to do that is I like to take a little bit of salt and pour a little into the don't really need a whole lot of salt, a couple tablespoons. Let's see, a couple tablespoons of salt. And then you can either use a whole potato and cut it in half, and use it like a sponge, or you can just use a sponge, a moist sponge. Doesn't have to be sopping wet, but a moist sponge, and just use the abrasiveness of the salt to clean off this hard sticking stuff here. So, and it works good because you don't need any more water than what's on the sponge to keep it moist, and the salt doesn't hurt the existing seasoning that's still on the cast iron. So this was something I picked up on YouTube on somebody restoring cast iron. Instead of using steel wool and a grinder, he used this salt method, and I found it works really good for cleanup. It can get a little messy though, but like I said, you're going to be out in the field anyways. It ain't going to hurt nothing to be a little messy. And normally I would use paper towels to wipe the bottom of this out of the excess salt, but I don't have any paper towels here, it doesn't look like, so I'm just going to go ahead and, well, over the garbage can works. Just wipe that salt and grime and crud out of there. And voila, we're just about ready to season. Got a little bit left over in there. Gonna put a little more salt back in it, and just a tiny bit. It only got a couple spots, it looks like, in here. Just a touch more clean salt. Moist rag again, and we'll just give her one more good once over. And that should do it. That's it. It's really that simple. It took 3-4 minutes. No more water than what was on a moist rag. And then wipe it out with a paper towel. Get the salt. And then warm the pan back up to evaporate whatever moisture the pan did pick up from the sponge, and re-season. And I found that to probably be the best way to clean your cast iron when you're overlanding or car camping or whatever you want to call it. But there we go. She's all cleaned up. All that's left is to re-season, and I won't bore you with the details of how I season it. It's just like everybody else that does it. There's a million videos on YouTube that show you how to do it, but that is a quick breakfast recipe with the salt method of cleaning your cookware out in the field. Hope this helps you out. Guys, take care.